Hey everybody, welcome to the next edition of The Great Franchisee. I'm here with Footprints Floors' John Stoldt, and he is in New York City, actually in the Long Island area. Welcome, John.
Thank you for having me.
Glad for you to be here. So tell us a little bit about your background. What did you do before franchising, and how did you decide this was the way to go for you?
Sure. For the first, maybe even 3/4 of my career, I was in retail. I worked in the stores. I worked in the field. I had a corporate role, and I spent a lot of that time in retail. And then I had switched over to more on the distribution side. So an online grocer, delivery kit company, and then a seafood distributor. So from retail, segue in to more on the distribution side. And for years, I had been wanting to start or buy a business, and I was intrigued by the franchise model. I think I wanted that extra support. I wanted the outline of how to do things. And I was ready to go for years. But one thing that held me back a little bit is my wife was very adverse to owning a business or starting a business. So she wasn't so into it for a while, and somewhat the time was kind of right where we had been talking about it for a little bit. And one time in my downtime, I had called her and I said, look, I saw this really, really interesting company. They've got a very unique model. They've got a very good reputation. Do you mind? All I ask right now is for your support. Can I make an intro call to them? And lo and behold, she said yes. And I was very excited. So I had reached out to Footprints Floors for their first call. I liked what I heard in two fronts. One, I just liked the business model and what they had to say to me. And then I liked one really integral question was for the remainder of the calls that we're going to be on and the go forward with this. Do you mind if your wife is on the call with you? We want her support as well. And I said, absolutely. If they didn't ask me for that, I was going to ask them if that was okay, because it's very important to me that I have my wife's support and buy-in with this. Since although I'll be running it, it's kind of a joint venture with her support behind me. I can't do anything without my wife and her support. So I was very glad to get it, and that's why I decided to move forward with Footprints.
I love that. So of course you need your wife's support. I mean, we need our whole family's support, right?
Yep.
On these big adventures. Okay, so tell us how 1851 played a part, because this is really interesting. You actually did not even know about Footprints Floors until you got on our website. Is that right?
That is correct. As I had said, for years, I had been looking into franchising and different brands and opportunities, and in the searching maybe of some other brands and or other times, I had come across 1851. And so that was, if you went into my browser and typed 1, that was the first thing that came up. So usually on a weekly occurrence that I would check to see the articles. And if nothing else, it was very interesting to me and the different brands. And one thing that popped up several times for over the course of months was Footprints Floors. So I actually have to thank 1851 for even introducing me to the brand, because otherwise I don't think I would have known about them at the time. And it was because of 1851 I saw it, and then I researched it in other ways, but I kept coming back to 1851. So actually I have to thank you for that.
Well, don't thank me, but I'm sure that our content team and all of our people that work behind the scenes, all the digital, will be very happy to hear that. So thank you, John. Well, so what was your perception about franchising prior to getting in it? Because I mean, you were kind of in like the seafood distribution arena. You weren't even really probably thinking about franchising. Did you have a different perception of it before really looking into it?
No, I knew that was probably, in my instance, the best way to get into owning a business. Because again, I was always interested and always wanted to do it, but I was really looking for something that would give me that template and would give me that support. And would give me, this is how I did things, or the support where if I ran into problems or issues, that there's someone I can call to say, this is my problem. And there are probably several people that came before me that had this problem where they can help me. And it's almost, for lack of a better term, like a business in a box. It's on me to run it, and it's on me on how it runs. But if I follow a tried, tested, and true model as closely as possible, I wouldn't say guarantee success, but I would say the best opportunity for success. And again, going with my wife, being with a little risk adverse, I think that's probably the best way to go, where it's a model that's been again and again and again proven to be true, so long as you follow it. And that's what intrigued me about franchising versus anything else.
So what would you say if you were talking to somebody who's, thinking about doing this, thinking about starting a new business, going out on their own, but is thinking about franchising? What would you say to them to make them, decide one way or the other?
I think first put in a lot of research. Now, I made a joke before that it's years that I was looking into this or thinking about it, and I wish it would have happened sooner. But I think really put in a lot of research, and you have to ask yourself a lot of questions. Do I want a brick and mortar? Do I want something home based? Do I want to be in food? Do I want to be in an industry I've never been in before? So it's certainly do a lot of research and really get into it when you are financially ready too. There were times too that now in retrospect, I can think that, hey, if I jumped into this sooner, maybe I wouldn't have been ready, or really look into the financial requirements. And if you get so far as to start talking to some of these franchises, do a thorough look of their FDD and see what's required, see what time maybe you will start breaking even. And I guess in one word, research. Definitely start looking into it and be serious too. Where don't kick 20 tires, because it's time consuming. So if you're really, I want to start by next year, or I want to start in 2 years, you can get lost in the weeds in some that maybe isn't the right fit, and don't go into something that is really not your style. Don't put the square peg in the round hole. Once you find something that is a good fit for you, and you're ready and you've done your research, then just dive into it and trust the process.
Great. That sounds wonderful. And a lot of great advice there. So what do you think makes you stand out as a local business owner in your community?
I, for a long time, have been wanting to do something within the community here. It's just the hours I was working or the commute that I was doing that held me back from being more ingrained into the community here, where I live on Long Island. And I think a lot of us here get trapped in that with, again, just the hours that you work or the commute that we have here. And I think this opportunity here allows for me to be more part of the community and in the community, and especially here with Footprints, because of how my territory lies. It's not very large. I mean, there's a large population within it, but it's not large geographically. So it really gives me the time to focus on the community, whether that's being involved or giving back in any way. In addition to that too, is I'm obviously an independent owner here locally, but I'm backed by a big brand. So I think that's the best combination. So I have a big brand behind me and helping me, guiding me, and almost even guaranteeing me, but also that I'm here, I'm local, and I can support my community, again, because of that small geographic area. And it's also something that I've really been personally wanting to do for a while, and which was a selling point too with Footprints, of how close-knit their community is, both from the franchisor, as well as how they encourage you to be part of your communities.
Yeah, that's great. And your commute cut down like significantly, right? All of a
Yes,
sudden you're
my
like,
hours.
oh, wait, my territory. Yeah, you get your life back. That's awesome. You have to find a different way to watch or listen to the music, right? Because that's when we always catch up to listen to the radio.
Yes.
You don't have a large commute anymore, so you got to make up for it.
Yep.
So tell me about the brand. Why did you pick this brand, and what excites you most about the company?
There really isn't one thing. I picked it because of the support. Firstly, because of the support, because it's an industry I have no or had no familiarity with. I wasn't in the construction industry. I didn't know much about flooring. And some of the things that they say right up front on some of the calls that you have is you don't have to have that experience, that we teach you everything. And boy, do they. Between the computer-based learning and the hands-on training, and then flying out to Denver for 2 weeks, and some of the experts that they have personally training you, they really gave me that experience. I mean, that knowledge. So the baseline knowledge that I have really helped with that. And so that put that fear aside. And then they also were saying, it's some of the work-life balance that you can have. Again, touching on that before, with the commutes that I had in the past and the hours that I was working, I can get some of that life back. where your schedule is what you make it. So if you wanted to block off time because you have an event, for if I wanted to see my daughter's event, I can block off that time. If I wanted to go on vacation, I just let them know and block off that time. So between their education, their time that I can get back with my family, and then it's also the potential in the business itself too. The financials were right. Everything was good. They walked me through how things would work. The calculator that they actually give you is if you book this many jobs and if you have this margin and whatnot. So everything seemed to work out well. And it was very intense those first couple of weeks, even before going into the training, just the information that they give you, and they have an answer pretty much for any fear that you might have or anything that may come up. So I felt they were very supportive, not just in the beginning, but during training. And now that I'm out of the training, the support just never ends. There's someone, if I can call right now and I'll get someone to pick up the phone, or I can call, I can text, I can email, there's forums and chats. There's no shortage of ways that I can help myself out of a problem or a question that I might have from them.
That's awesome. And so what do you hope to achieve with this business? What are your plans for growth? You talked a little bit about how you're set up for success, but so now what? What's your plan, this year, 2 years out, 5 years out?
For the first 6 months to a year, I really want to dig in and get as much knowledge in the industry as possible, read up on everything that I can, and get some really hands-on work alongside my partners, to really get, I'm somewhat maniacal about getting into the details a little bit sometimes, and I really want to get comfortable in the business myself before I really start to grow large. Obviously, everyone says they want to grow as large as they can, but I want to do that myself first, as large as I can get myself. And Brian Park, the CEO, says the largest choke point at some point is how much you can do yourself before you have to hire others. So hopefully I get to that point soon, and I can bring on some other employees, whether they be estimators or project managers, to start to work alongside me. And one of the strengths I had in some of my other jobs was, I guess, leadership or partnership and getting things done. So but first, for me, what's important is getting that baseline knowledge, being out there, being hands-on, and growing quickly. And then hopefully by the 1 year mark, I want to be in the position where I just can't handle much anymore. And start bringing on employees, twofold: one, to grow and scale the business, and two, to a small extent, maybe step back a little bit and see the fruits of the labor of the business growing, and spend maybe even some more time with my family that has been lacking over the last several years because of other positions, and as we touched on, the commute.
Well, so I guess what is one thing about your story that you would want us to know? You've talked a little bit about your past, but not too much. But what's that one thing that you would want your customers to know, that you would want your family to know? Why are you doing this? Just anybody.
I'm doing this one, again, it's a genuine and heartfelt thing when I say that I really want to be part of the community. I want to be a pillar of the community. I want to be a business owner within the community. But also, I tend to, somewhat of a perfectionist, and as I was saying before, being maniacal about getting things right. So this is an industry, particularly here in Long Island, in New York, where sometimes the reputation of some contractors or some home improvement people really aren't the best. And what drew me to Footprints too is we really do strive to make things right. So it's my wanting to be part of the community. It's me wanting to know all the details and do the best job I can, but it's really making things right for our customers. So I'm here not just for the business and to make money, but also to make sure that every job I do, I can be proud of. My franchisor Footprints can be proud of. I stand behind it, and I support my customers in any way that I can.
John Stoldt, thanks for being with us. Footprints Floors is your new business on Long Island, there on the North Shore. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.